Yeah, Barack Sr., of course, came to the United States as part of the Airlift Africa program, the CIA's program to influence new leaders of newly independent African countries to compete with the Soviets, who were doing the same thing at the People's Friendship University in Moscow, which later became Patrice Lumumba University.
And just everybody you look at, it just continues with this guy totally hooked in with these intelligence groups. And you look at his cabinet now, it's all the very same families that were in intelligence at the time with his mommy.
Oh, absolutely. Tim Geithner's father was the boss for Obama's mother. Very small world, isn't it?
Certainly is. Let's come back and look more into this. Also, get your view on what's happening in the Middle East, North Africa, what's happening with the economy. Wayne Madsen, we're interviewing him while we can before he evacuates the United States so they don't kill him. S&P moves, U.S. outlook to negative, gold hits new record. Cables reveal State Department, CIA, NGOs fomenting Syrian unrest. Same reports confirm Libya. North Africa, of course, not just with Libya, but with Egypt. Obama pushes Chinese-style internet ID system. I got to some of this yesterday, but it's one thing to know they've been setting this up. To have them openly come out and say you're going to have a government ID to surf the web, to have a bank account, and that the government's going to track everything you do, and the government's going to have the ID codes to all of your files. Just incredible. By the way, since I bring that up, before we get back into Obama and the CIA background, formerly with the NSA and a computer expert, Wayne Madsen, what do you make of this incredible new Chinese-style internet ID system with the admissions that it's going to track everything you do? And the White House said it's voluntary, but even CNET and Wired Magazine said that's not true. This is a forced system once they get it in place.
Well, yeah, this is a typical example of what I call function creep or mission creep. The White House is saying, well, it's to prevent identity theft. But as we've seen with all these other initiatives from the government in the past, what they say and what they ultimately do with these new systems is very invasive. And I would I know that some of my old colleagues from when I worked at Epic are on this story, and I agree that this is just like back during the Clinton administration when they were pushing this government encryption system called the Clipper chip. They said, oh, this is to protect your electronic funds transfers and things like that. Yet the government would hold the key, and there was a huge battle over that. And here we go again with another initiative, and it looks like look. I mean, you look at Janet Napolitano, the Homeland Security Department, and the people that Obama has put in these national security positions, and all of them, every single one of them, are for massive surveillance systems. It's in some respects, it's actually worse than Bush. And here with this Internet ID, here we have an example of an initiative that was never even tried by the previous administration. And I never thought I'd say that Obama would be worse than Bush in some respects, but he absolutely is in many respects. Freedom of information, this new thing with the Internet. And starting a third war where Bush had 2 wars going, Obama now has 3 wars going.
But we know, not giving Obama an out, I mean, it's fun to dislike him. He is a distasteful teleprompter reading liar. It's that the globalists are further down the road for this new global banking empire known as the New World Order. They're committed. They've committed so many crimes that they've got to either prevail or they're going to fall, and fall hard. And so I would imagine whatever new fake Republican savior they put in, if it's not Ron Paul, if it's Donald Trump or Mitt Romney, people are going to be amazed how bad they are, because it's all just a continuation. It's a continuity of agenda.
What this construct, I think, runs the risk of, they may be hit by a ton of bricks, and I'm being sort of tongue-in-cheek here, BRICS being the new a pact of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and now South Africa. They are basically, if you listen to their government leaders, they're saying we are out to stop the Western control over international finances through the IMF, through the World Bank, through the G20, through the G8, and they're making no bones about it, the fact that they don't like the fact that so much international monetary policy is set blocks from the White House at the IMF and World Bank headquarters. They're calling for an end to that. And these are burgeoning economies where the U.S. and Britain and France are collapsing economies.
That's right. The West has even lost its will to have children. We have a corrupt elite who's socially engineered us to be servile and dumb, but so we would be more manageable. But once you do that, zombies don't reproduce. Zombies aren't creative. And so the zombie world, run by the zombie kings of the New World Order, are trying this last gasp attempt to set up their world empire with the senile, stumbling Soros at the top of it, openly, saying how proud he is that he helped round up Jews as a collaborator. I mean, these are very, very sick people, but they've got nuclear weapons.
Well, they do, and we look at we look at what the U.S. is doing around the world, and this projection of military strength and military aggression. I've heard no one say, "Wait a minute, here we've got a country that has no respect for international law with weapons of mass destruction." I haven't heard anyone say, "Well, maybe they should be removed from these people."
All right, stay there, Wayne Madsen. I want to, in one more segment with you, get your intel on what's really happening in the Middle East, North Africa. I mean, now it's just admitted that the West financed the whole thing. Incredibly criminal. Overthrowing their old favorite dictator, Mubarak. Where that goes next. The Saudis saying they're going to cut oil output, that they've been double-crossed by the West. We'll talk about it all. We're going back to Wayne Madsen here in a moment. That I'm getting into Saudis/oil output. Standard & Poor's says the outlook for the dollar's AAA rating is being downgraded. This is really serious news. It's all happening. And I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. It's one thing to intellectually know this. It's another thing to actually now see it unfolding. And it's just going to get crazier from here on out. We're in for the fight of our lives against tyranny. We got a good chance of winning if people take action. Before I go back to Wayne, don't forget this radio broadcast, the radio, TV studios, the books, the films, everything we do on the front lines of the info war is possible because of your support, of our sponsors, of our local AM and FM affiliates, but also by purchasing the books, videos, T-shirts, and other materials at Infowars.com. Plus, those books, those videos will heighten your awareness. Then you can pay it forward. Give the book to friends and family that you've read. Make copies of all the films that I have made or that I have produced. Get those out to everyone you know. The power of an individual passing information on is incredible. The globalists have to reapply their lies, reapply their propaganda, their confusion. The truth, an ounce of truth devastates 1,000 pounds of lies. All we've got to do is carry the ball. We've got a lot of great T-shirts like the V for Victory, You Are the Resistance shirt, limited edition. Get that while supplies last. We're not going to be reprinting those. We also have the Draft Ron Paul 2012 shirt if you want that. We're not going to make any more of those. A lot of the T-shirts we're now putting out are limited edition. If you want those, they're available. Also, we've got Mark Dice's new book, Big Brother, excellent book, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True. We've got that at Infowars.com. And when you get that book with Jesse Ventura's 63 documents the government doesn't want you to read, perfect book to wake people up who are, beginners. Great information with these documents. You get one of my best-selling films that you choose for free on top of it. We have a lot of other great books and videos as well available at Infowars.com, or you can call toll-free and ask about the different combos and specials and order via the phone, 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. We don't have George Soros funding us. We don't have News Corps, the federal government funding us with your tax money. The IRS comes and puts a gun to your head and says, give us your money. We're going to pay it to the private Federal Reserve. That's where it all goes. It's all the other taxes that pay for the government. Or we're going to send a SWAT team. And then they come out and demonize people that speak up for liberty. You voluntarily vote with your dollars to support us. And even if you don't have a red cent to buy my films or the books or the T-shirts, the films are free online. Get them. Obama Deception, Fall of the Republic, Endgame, Invisible Empire. Email them out to everybody you know. Don't take these high-quality, high-production value, powerful info-filled films and just take it for granted. Get them out to everybody you know. Spread the word about the free podcast that now upwards of 400,000 people a day download. The free audio streams that upwards of 300, 400, 500, 600,000 some days. People listen to the live streams. The local stations you're listening to. That's how we reach more people, is you paying it forward. That's why the system is so scared of us. That's why they're demonizing us, because they know we're telling the truth. They know we understand the left-right paradigm, and the system is scared. So please think about supporting us every day by at least spreading the word about the broadcast. That's the most important thing that you can do. Going back to Wayne Madsen here for the rest of this segment, then I'm getting into financial news and world news. This is one of the biggest news days, most important news days I've ever seen. We're going to be breaking that down and taking your phone calls in the next hour. But Wayne, getting into your view, your take, the breakdown on what's happening in the Middle East. We know it's globalist backed, but the larger question is why? What is the end game? Wayne Madsen.
Well, I saw what happened in North Africa, starting in Tunisia and then in Egypt and then spreading to Libya and now Syria. Look, we had riots against the austerity measures being imposed by the IMF in Greece. We saw general strikes in Spain and in Portugal. We saw mass demonstrations in Italy. This, of course, these demonstrations went south on the Mediterranean coast. They affected Tunisia and Egypt and now Syria. And what we're seeing is an attempt from these latest cables that have been released, the U.S. backing the Syrian opposition, the CIA giving them money, USAID, the Soros-connected NGOs, just like we saw after the initial uprising in Libya. How what these elitists are trying to do is ensure a soft landing. They want to make sure that whoever comes in after Gaddafi or Mubarak or Ben Ali in Tunisia or Assad in Syria is somebody they can deal with, somebody they've nurtured. And here we have in Syria the fact that the groups that have been funded by the CIA and USAID and the NGOs have these groups are based in London. That reminds me of one Ahmed Chalabi, the Iraqi National Congress, living in the most expensive neighborhood in London, who was being groomed to take over from Saddam Hussein. The other thing these countries have in common, I would note, Mubarak, Assad, and Gaddafi, and Ben Ali in Tunisia were all covert partners of the CIA in its rendition and torture program. And now we've basically thrown these guys out, and we obviously want to replace them with somebody who will keep up this phony war on terrorism. And the other thing, I predicted this, that these North African rebellions would start heading south into sub-Saharan Africa. We're seeing that play out right now. Massive mutiny underway in Burkina Faso. We're seeing demonstrations in Gabon and in Uganda against the U.S.-supported dictator there. So we are seeing these rebellions spread to the south, to Black Africa.
In Saudi Arabia, what's happening in Yemen, Bahrain? Because our sources inside big oil companies, Lindsey Williams and others, 6 months ago said there's going to be a destabilization in the Middle East, North Africa. It's going to lead to $150 a barrel oil or more. The Saudis are going to be double-crossed. They've invested in the dollar. As the world moves away from the dollar, the West isn't just going to cheat them out of their T-bills by devaluing them. They're also going to basically overthrow them. An end of this 100 years of British intelligence officers being the Saudi royal family, you know, Bedouins they gave a crown to and some machine guns and hand grenades and said, you're the king. Since our sources said this 6 months ago, we've seen the Saudis run to Russia, run to China. They're openly talking about a double cross. Normally, during an economic situation like this, they would increase output. Now they're saying they're going to slash output with a sarcastic statement about saying market is oversupplied as oil prices surge towards record prices. What do you make of all of this? And from your research, do you have anything that backs that up, that there's a plan by the globalists to basically overthrow not just friends like Mubarak, but other seedy, sickening, inbred scum like the Saudis? Ask ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?